It's New Comic Book Day, so let's first talk about things I read last week. Let's talk about the individual issues. I read a lot of stuff digitally as well. X-Men United #1, this one I got last week. I didn't like it. I think a lot of Marvel stuff is not very good right now. I thought this would be a good introduction to X-Men, or at least the current era of X-Men, but it wasn't very good. It kind of like felt really bland. A lot of characters seem a little bit dumb, and it seems more like kind of a Krakoa light series. Like, they're trying to do Krakoa, but not really following through. And also, just redoing Krakoa is not that interesting. You gotta do something new. Cult of the Lamb, The Last Sacrament. This is kind of the finale of all of the Cult of the Lamb series and all the comics. I thought it was pretty good. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I really like the game, so just anything in this is pretty fun. I do wonder if they're gonna do more comics, like a sequel comic. It'll be interesting to see them tackle more of the game updates, like stuff they've added into the game later on that were past this story. I think that would be interesting. There's a lot of room to explore that area too. Next, I also read the entire Rick Grayson arc, which is a lot. It wasn't a lot of fun. It's pretty bad, as most people have said, but I think it's got wasted potential. I think it could have been interesting. They didn't get rid of the 20-year memory gap. If it was just a personality shift, there could have been something to play with there. It would definitely make more sense why he still acts like an adult. If you miss 20 years of your life, you're not going to act like an adult anymore. He just tries to be a vigilante, but without wanting to be, so he doesn't have like a moniker. It would have been interesting if they brought back the Target or Renegade, or even like introduced Red X, because Teen Titans Academy hadn't happened at this point, so Red X hadn't been introduced in the comics yet. And so this would have been like a great opportunity to do that, or just make him like a Talon just from the very beginning of the Rick Grayson arc. They try to pretend like the Court of Owls was behind it the whole time. Obviously, that was just to wrap up the whole arc, but if they planned it from the beginning, then him making a Talon would be cool. Otherwise, not very interesting arc, very boring, very bad, actually. More bad than boring, actually. It was kind of like a pain to read. I think probably the only highlights is Hutch and Bia. I don't know if they'll ever bring back Hutch. I don't even know if they'll ever mention his name again. But they gave him a lot of attention, and I actually liked that character. He was pretty cool. So I hope he comes back in some way, like supporting cast for Nightwing or something like that. I think Bia was actually written pretty well in the Rick Grayson arc. Maybe it kind of like floundered in like the later bits, but she seems like a great like civilian character. And then Tom Taylor came along and made her a pirate queen for some reason, which is transitioning into my next thing here. I read Tom Taylor's entire arc because that followed the Rick Grayson arc. I only have Omnibus 1 here because Omnibus 2 isn't out yet. And this is the compact that also came out last week, or maybe like a week or two ago. But yeah, I read his entire arc all the way through. It kind of like dumbs down Dick Grayson a little bit. Actually, a lot of it. He does a lot of mistakes here that doesn't make any sense for the character, and stuff that he would never normally make mistakes for. And a lot of his supporting characters are just other heroes or titans. Like, it doesn't make it interesting if he doesn't have like civilian characters surrounding him. I think he doesn't feel like his own character. He feels just kind of like they're trying to like make him the main character of DC, which I think is putting him on too high of a pedestal. I definitely think he's important to DC, but not so much that he's like the main guy. But yeah, there's a lot of stalling in that arc. I think the Heartless lasts way too long. I think it's poor decision to have only like three major villains throughout the run. And spoiler alert, they all die, all three of them. Which I don't know why they would do that. Makes it so harder for them to be like a constant in Nightwing's life. But whatever. And I don't really like the way that they died either. In general, the story gets interrupted a lot by outside events. I think one issue has the Titans Tower being like built in Bloodhaven. And then the very next issue, it's talking about how it got destroyed. I think it was like Dark Crisis came in there and interrupted the whole thing. But it's just a real like whiplash of going from, oh, we're going to finally build Titans Tower in Bloodhaven to, oh man, Titans Tower is destroyed in the very next like issue. And even beyond outside events, it gets interrupted by the stuff inside the story. Like, we go on a lot of side quests for some reason. I don't understand why the Titans team is going to a side quest in hell. That should be a Titans story. That doesn't need to be in here. Everything about Blockbuster's daughter just didn't make any sense to me. Like, randomly he has a daughter now, and randomly we're spending so much time on this arc of her. Like, it just felt really like a weird detour. I don't understand it. And then like right after that, we have Bia coming back as a pirate queen, which I do not like that like that direction for that character. It just feels really weird. I think she was fully capable, like as a fully fleshed character beyond the pirate stuff. I don't hate like the seafaring, the fisherman's like pirate stuff of Bloodhaven, but I think dragging Bia into that just felt really forced and just really random. Like she kind of takes a 180 as a character, like her personality and everything because of the pirate stuff. It was really weird. But that's everything I read last week. So let's talk about what I got for this week. I have another compact comic. I have The Flash Rebirth, which I believe I have the trade. I think it's like up there, but I haven't read it yet. I believe this is the one where Barry comes back into the DC universe for the first time after like 20 real life years of being gone. It's something crazy like that. I don't know if it's how good this is. I know it's probably one of the more popular Barry Allen stories, especially at the time because, you know, he was dead, so he didn't have a lot of stories. I'll probably read that soon. I don't know when soon, but eventually I will read that and just kind of see what it's all about. Batwoman #1. This one is part of the Next Level era. I'm kind of interested in this one because it's Greg Rucka, Batwoman. I'm a little iffy on Batwoman as a character. I think the military stuff about her just feels really weird, really random. And she doesn't have a huge rogues gallery, so it's hard to find what's interesting about her. I think there are interesting things about her, but I think it's kind of like, is it enough to flesh out an entire series or a run? Or is it just like an interesting character that shows up every now and then? We'll see with this series. This is Greg Rucka returning after he wrote the other Batwoman one that I read, the DC Compact Batwoman Elegy book, which was pretty decent, I think. It was a little weird at some parts, but I did not hate it. I also got Nightwing 136. This is Dan Watters continuing his run with a new artist, Dennis Cohen. And this is a new arc as well. I'm excited about it. I personally feel like this is kind of like the real start of Dan Watters' run because the first few arcs that he wrote are definitely like very Dan Watters and his style, and you know his signature is kind of imposed upon it. But there was a lot of stuff that trickled down from Tom Taylor's run that he slowly kind of shed off and got rid of. And then I think most of that is pretty much gone at this point. So this is kind of like fresh eyes and fresh face of a Nightwing run. So I'm excited to get into that and see how that one is. And I also got the foil variant corner box cover. This one is pretty good, pretty clean. I like the way he looks in this one. Next, I got New Titans 33. This is a new title, New Titans, but they're keeping the numbering. This is supposed to be introducing a whole new Titans team with Tate Bromble as the writer. I read his Green Lantern Dark, and I'm currently reading his Batgirl, which I think I can kind of get the vibe of what might the Titans be like. Hopefully it's a lot better than those two, but you know, the idea that I get is that it'll start off really strong, and then it'll start to drag on a storyline that I don't care about for a long time, and then kind of forget who the main characters are. That's kind of what I got from the other two series that I read. We'll see how this one is different, especially because it's a team book this time, so maybe it'll be a lot better. We'll see. I might keep up with this one just to see how it pans out and how it plays out. Curious whenever they do shift the Titans team, so we'll see if it's anything interesting. Finally, I have Leonai the Vampire. There are two more issues prior to this in the same universe, the Leonai the Vampire. I read those digitally, and I did actually really like the vibe and the atmosphere, and I think this one, the House of Yonda, will only have 2 issues. So that'll be fun to get into. I'm really interested in vampires. I probably mentioned a few times. Big vampire fan, so whenever there is something vampire-esque, I'm gonna jump right into and see how it is. There's not really like a good central hub to like learn about new releases about vampires and stuff, like vampire media. So I kind of just have to like be in the know, and I happen to catch this one, so I'm very lucky. And I'm excited to get into it. If they ever release a trade down the line, I would definitely get, but I think, you know, this is only like the 3rd issue of this entire like world, so I don't know if they'll be releasing a trade anytime soon. Maybe when this one finishes off, there'll be a 4-issue thing. We'll see. I'm excited to get into it though. I really like the art style. I really like the atmosphere. That's everything I got this week, everything I read last week. So let me know what you guys have been reading, what you guys got, and let me know what you guys think.